I'm Agni BB. Hey guys. There's two things I always read before I share. The one's the service prayer. I just changed the words around a little bit. God, grant me the knowledge that I may speak according to your divine precepts. Instill in me a sense of your purpose. Make me a servant of your will. And grant me a bond of selflessness, that this may truly be your work, not mine, in order that no addict need die from the horrors of addiction. The second thing I read is from the story Unmanageable. We are the same people, cut from the same cloth. I've never forgotten that I love to do anything that will keep me out of here and now. I am nothing but another person acting a part in Narcotics Anonymous. Nothing but another person trying to live clean and recover. I know for the fact that the program works. I know that because I am one of the miracles, just like everyone in these rooms is one of the miracles. Like I said, I'm Agni BB.
Pardon me, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. The first thing I read, and I really needed it today, is it always took my anxiety away when I'm coming to share. Because for me, this has never been easy. It's gotten easier over time, but it's still not easy. Of course, I want people to like me, right? I want people to laugh. I want people to, ooh and ah, you got good recovery, right? But reality of the situation is I'm up here for one reason only, is to carry our message, is that any addict with a breath in their body, can, lose desire to use, stop using the desire to use and find a way of life. And I just want to give a clear message. That's what it's about. The second thing I read is, especially if we're old, it doesn't matter. Like, when we come in here, there's no big eyes and no little U's. We're all in here for the same reason. We're all here to get another day clean. And it's nice that we have our more experienced members. For me, not just bring me through the steps to help me out in life, because I didn't know how to live when I got here. But, none of us are any different. Doesn't matter. We're all the same. It's the same, what they say, like, dog that bit you is the same dog that bit me. I'm really nervous. This is like surreal to me. It's surreal for somebody to see something in me to ask me to speak at a convention. It took me back to, and this is really against NA policies, I guess, but I remember when I was 40 days clean, and I befriended somebody, like on my first couple of days clean, I had 7 years, and he had a commitment at a hospital, and he asked me to share, and I was so nervous, and I'm so grateful for that today. It started me on my path of starting to get comfortable, because I remember in the beginning, my first sponsor asked me, he's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Write down a goals list. You know what I mean? For recovery and for life. And at that point, I just wanted to have a car again. I wanted to have a decent job. One of the things on there was I wanted to sponsor guys eventually, right? I wanted to be able to share at a meeting, just share from the floor at a meeting. I was the guy that sweated during reading a reading, pouring sweat. You know what I mean? And my sponsor would always make me read the longest ones. He would make me read how it works or 12 traditions, and I'd just be pouring sweat and stuttering by the end of it. And I'm grateful for that, though. I'm going to start with identification. I like to start with identification and like where I came from all the time. Right, they say self-centered is the core of our disease, right? I want to tell you about my disease. My disease is self-loathing and self-hate. My disease is being scared to death. That goes back to when I was a kid. As soon as I was able to think for myself and socialize in life, like, it was there. I had this fucked up thinking. Examples. Growing up, like, my nanny, she loved my cousins more than she loved me, right? And my friends, it was always, Robin likes Nikki better than she likes me, right? Like, I always was felt insecure and that I wasn't good enough for anybody. The scare part was just like, I was so scared all the time. I came from a good family. My mother or my father did not drink or drug. Ever. I never seen them drunk until I was into my 20s. And that was only at like a wedding or something, right? But I came from a good family. I had no reason to feel that way. It was inside. It was all inside. And I was so scared, like I started cutting school in 4th grade because I had so much anxiety going to school, right? And I mean, it was always like that for me ever since I can remember. And the obsessive compulsive behavior was there. Growing up, whatever it was that I was into, I was fucking into. Whether it was toys, bikes, skateboards, music. I could ask my wife. I could still be obsessive with music to this day. But when I was into it, I was into it. I had to have everything that went with that thing. You know what I mean? If it was like He-Man toy, I had all the He-Man, man. I wanted all of them. So that was there very early. And like, I know like some people feel the way that, doesn't matter if I was an addict before I picked a drug. I picked a drug, that's all that matters. And that works for some people, right? For me, it's the opposite. You know what I mean? Because all them things were there before I even got close to a drug, right? And, fast forward a little bit, like drinking, like most of us probably in here, the first thing we picked up. And for me, like, I always say 12 times, but the first 12 times I drunk. I like to mispronounce stuff too. But I got so violently sick because I was drinking straight stuff out of my parents' cabinet and filling it back up with water because they didn't drink, so they didn't find out till years later. Years they didn't find out till, right? But I remember, like, I would throw up in my bed and just roll over because I couldn't move because that's how drunk I was, right? And but I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to do it again. I couldn't wait to have that freedom, which I thought was freedom, right? I wasn't afraid anymore, right? I wasn't afraid to talk to girls. I wasn't afraid to fight. You know what I mean? I wasn't afraid to speak my mind. I wasn't afraid to be the person who I thought I wanted to be. And I never graduated from one drug to another. I had my drugs of choice, but I never graduated, right? I just found another drug that would do on top of another drug, on top of another drug, on top of another drug. Literally, like, if I went down the way, I was hitting 7 different corners. If I was at a bar, if I seen 7 different drug dealers, I was doing 7 different drugs. I was truly addicted to more. I wanted more. And I smoked crack and shot coke socially. Right? Socially. Because if you had it, I wanted to do it. If you were doing 2, I was doing 4. And when I was done mine, I wanted some of yours. And, don't get it twisted though. I wasn't going to steal it. I wasn't going to intimidate you for it. Right? I was going to beg you. Right? I was a beggar. Right? I was a stone cold beggar. I begged. I wasn't even a street beggar. I wasn't even a street. I begged my family and my friends for money, or when they were if I was using it with my sister, right? I just begged her. Come on, just give me one. I'm not well, whatever it may be, right? So it was always like more. It was about more for me. It was about getting out of myself. That's what it was really about. And every drug that I found was just the answer. You know what I mean? So, like, from my experience, right, like, my first 2 detoxes, I only had an opiate problem. I could stay off the opiates, I'll be fine. Meanwhile, I'd be on Suboxone maintenance and shooting coke and smoking wet all weekend long. And then Monday morning comes, I need money for gas for the car, or, money for a car. I'm not even going to say bus because, like, I'm a mama's boy, right? I always had a woman take care of me. Always. Whether it was my sister, my best friend, my mother, or a girlfriend. Always. I'm not ashamed to say it now. I used to be I wouldn't tell nobody this. And, I remember, I'm such a mama's boy, right? That I asked my mom to help me get a car. I paid the first car payment. I paid the first insurance. And she never seen a dime out of me. You know what I mean? For the next 5 years, I drove around in a free car. Because my mom was pretty much in denial. You know what I mean? I always have excuses about him. I had to pay out, of course. But it wasn't until I got a sponsor that I found out the problem was me. That I'm the problem with inside me. You know what I mean? I think our literature says the uncontrollable use of drugs is a symptom of our disease, right? Just a symptom. That's what we do to combat the inside. And I got stressed out a little bit because I was supposed to speak with somebody, and I was supposed to speak with somebody I'm comfortable with, but I have some friends here, I have some faces I see that I know pretty well and some that I'm getting to know. So I feel a little more comfortable right now. But this isn't my first time in Narcotics Anonymous. I have been around. The first time I came around, I was around for 87 days. 87. That's it. You come around here, you're going to hear a lot of cliches, and they're all true. But the one that sticks out for me when I think about that first time around is it works if you work it, right? You get in what you put in. You know what I mean? You half-ass recovery, chances are you're going to half-ass your way out the door. And I came around that time, right? Fresh out of rehab. Finally nobody was taking me in. I'm a comfort user, right? I never been in a bando. I never been homeless. I never been to the penitentiary. Like I said, I'm a mama's boy. Girls take care of me. At this point, nobody was taking me back. They're like, no, we're not. Because I could force my way into places, right? I was that guy. I showed up to my dad's house after 4 years of not speaking to him. 4 years. With a girlfriend and 2 cats. Walked in the door, walked up to the attic, and planted my ass there for 3 months till I got my return check and I could get another place, right? Until I was entitled. You owe me, right? This is grandma's house, not yours, right? And but that's the kind of addict. I was a comfort user, and like I said, going back, this is the time nobody was letting me back in at this time. They're like, no, we're done. We don't want you. And it wasn't because I stole. I wasn't a big thief. Like I said it earlier. They just didn't want to see me do that to myself anymore, right? So I got forced into rehab pretty much because I was staying on my best friend's couch, and I was like, she has kids, and I was doing my thing. She's like, you got to go. You need to go to rehab. She goes, I said, no, I don't need to go to rehab. I'm not going to rehab. She said, well, you got to leave. The next day I drove myself to rehab because I had nowhere to go. And after that, they said, we can't have you come back. And so I went to a recovery house, and it was my first. I've heard of NA and the other ones, but this was my first real induction to Narcotics Anonymous. Works if you work it. I made 100 meetings. I had a car, and it was 87 days, and so all I did was make meetings. Meeting makers make it, but also there's another side of that. They're both true. Both cliches are true at this point. Meeting makers make it, and meeting makers just make meetings. So, I started making meetings. I made some friends. I didn't get a sponsor. You know what I mean? I didn't have to tell them if we had steps up here that I was powerless over drugs, because that's what it was. I had no idea what addiction meant because I didn't get a sponsor, and I had nobody explain it to me. I had a home group by name, and I made friends. You know what I mean? I made friends, but I didn't make a support group. It's a big difference between having friends and having a support group. That word support entitles they hold you, they help you. You know what I mean? They support you. And going back to the scared thing, right? I took all the drugs out of my body, and I was scared to death. Right? I was so scared. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to work. But at that point, I used so much that it took everything else. It took the ability to communicate or anything without something in me. I was just if you would have seen me back then, I walked around, this actually happened the first time and then Narcotics Anonymous. And when I got back, I would walk around with a dead iPod in and a hoodie up. Afraid to make eye contact with anybody, right? And I was so scared. Like, I didn't know how to live, I didn't know how to work, I didn't know how to communicate. I was scared I wanted to fucking use, and I didn't tell nobody, right? And it's funny, and if I would have just said something, it would have been, me too. I hate myself, me too. I'm scared, me too. I want to use, me too, right? But I didn't tell nobody, and it sent me back, not doing all them things, 87 days, and I was back out. And my last little run, man, I didn't use more than I used. You know what I mean? I was forced myself. I drove myself to my mother's house once again. Walked up to the bedroom, and that was my last year out there. It was just basically sitting in my mom's bedroom under covers watching TV, and I would somehow always once in a while get some money. Whether I think one was my return check, and my mom, for some reason, used to keep $100 bills in her pocketbooks for weddings and events. And that was my last year using. Every once in a while, grabbing something out of her purse or getting that little money. And but most of the time I was just in bed, not wanting to be alive, right? And eventually my aunt called me. My cousin got hurt. She wanted me to come back to work for her, so I went back to work for her, got money, was getting high again steadily. She fired me, kicked me out of her house, and at my cousin's house, after 2 months there, my cousin's like, you gotta go. And I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. I didn't really know. I wasn't coming back here. I didn't even think about coming back here. Not for a second did I ever think about coming back to Narcotics Anonymous. This doesn't work for me. It works for you. And I know it worked because I seen people smiling. And when I was here, and I didn't think it was fake. So I know some people experiences, they think you guys found a way to get high or something. I mean, not me. I knew you guys were fucking clean. And I knew you guys were happy. And, I remember going to bed one night and thinking to myself, is this it, man? Is this what I want to do? Because I had to leave tomorrow. I had nowhere to go. By that time, the car was going. My mom said no. And it was homeless right then. So I got up, I got high, and I started walking. And call it the universe, call it God, call it what you want. I ended up at a girl's house in Narcotics Anonymous, right? A girl that I kept in contact with through MySpace. Thinking to myself, it was before Facebook hit, right? It was very beginning of Facebook, actually. And, MySpace, man. And I would always go to her house every once in a while, and she would always say the same thing when she answered her door. You coming back? And I always have an excuse. I got a job on the line, job coming up. I got my nephew's this. Always an excuse, you know what I mean, of why I couldn't come back. And she always let me in. She always invited me in to play rock band and have coffee. And, when that day, man, when I knocked on her door and she answered, right, she asked me, the question she always asks me, are you ready? Are you done? Right? I still get teared up when I talk about this. And I said yes, man. Every being in my body, I was high as a kite. And I felt it. I'm done. I don't want to use anymore. I'm so tired of this, right? And, that was my initial surrender, right? It says in our literature, I always look, I'm big believer. It says recovery begins with surrender, right? It says, I don't know, I had to read it out of the book, but I know it by heart. It says, in our experience, no addict who has completely surrendered to the program has ever failed to find recovery. Ever. If you surrender, you will find it, right? And, I felt it, man. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And I could say that all I want, right? I could say that. And how many people hear me say that in my lifetime? I'm done using. You know what I mean? I lost another job. I'm done. I fucked this up. I'm losing another place. I'm done using. Let me move in with you. I'm done using because I'm going to be good now. And I could say that till I'm blue in the face. But now it's time, show that I'm surrendered, right? Honesty, open-minded, and willingness are 3 indispensables, right? And with that surrender has to come some honesty, right? And all of us start with that honesty at least a little bit when we come in this room and say, I'm an addict. My name is BB, I'm an addict. It's pretty honest. And for honesty for me is like, it's like I thought I had honesty under wraps when I came here. Because like growing up, I would always be like, I would lie about stupid shit, right? Like I seen that movie too. Oh, I've been on that roller coaster too. I've been to Wisconsin too, right? Wherever it was, right? I was always, why? And I met a girl, and when I was around my 20s, and she's like, why are you always lying? Why are you always lying? Stop lying. Nobody cares. So I got a grasp on that, like in my 20s. So when I got here, I thought I was honest, right? I thought I was honest, and then like walking out of a Wawa with my sponsor once, like I'm walking out with the coffee. He's like, "What are you doing?" Like in front of people. I'm like all embarrassed. He's like, "You're paying for that, right?" And I thought that was honesty then. And it talks about in our literature, without honesty, this doesn't work. And when we're talking about that kind of honesty, it's like gut level honesty with self, right? Gut level honesty with others. And I can't talk about honesty, but I talk about acceptance. Because acceptance is honesty for me, a deep level, right? Like when you have acceptance, like I don't truly believe this, but it's funny. There's a guy from our area. It always says, most of the time when I'm accepting shit, I don't have to go to the other steps, right? Because acceptance is just the fucking key to everything. And for me, it starts with acceptance, right? It starts with I got plenty of time.
You have plenty of time.
All right. It starts with that acceptance, like when that gut level honesty of what's going on, right? Whether it's what's going on with me, right? Because when I first came in the first time, like you would see me outside a meeting and you asked me how I was doing, and I would say good. Some days I was great, believe it or not. I'm great. Things are great. I'm living in a recovery house, living the dream, right? And that's a change. One of the big things that changed this time, like being like seeing somebody, and if I didn't know them so well, and they say, "How you doing?" I say, "I'm hanging in there," right? But God forbid you're one of my friends. You ask me how I'm doing, right? I'm like a little girl. I don't let keep anything inside. I don't want to paint myself into that corner that I can't get out of high. So if I see a friend or at a meeting, how you doing, and shit's fucked up, I throw up on them immediately, right? Gut level honesty. This is what's going on. This is how I feel, right? And like I said, like with the honesty, like we all start that though. We all start that as soon as we come in these rooms and admit that we're addicts, right? I did pick up some other literature. Honesty is the antidote to our disease thinking, right? Because we believe our own bullshit, right? I can go to a meeting and say, why am I here? Nobody likes me, right? My thinking can be so fucked up at times, right? There's times where I go to a meeting, I still put up a hoodie, right? Because I don't feel good inside. I feel ugly. I feel worthless. But when I see I got a key to that today though. When I feel ugly, I'm on my way to a meeting, I call my wife. And I tell her, tell me I'm pretty. and she always says, you're beautiful. And I say, thank you. But all this honesty stuff, like, and with sometimes clean, like, I can still have that disease thinking. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? And I have to be honest about it, like gut level. None of that surface shit anymore. I don't lie about stupid shit. Like in here, like be honest with myself and be honest with others on a deep, deep level. Now, open-mindedness, right? Like when I got back here, I was open-minded that this works. right? Because I seen it in them friends that I had made before I came back. They had 18 months clean, a year, 2 years. They go, I had some little bit of clean time. And they weren't talking about drugs anymore, right? Because when I came around with them, we were all talking, that's all we talked about, is getting high, right? What did you do? What drugs did you do? And I came around and they weren't talking about that stuff anymore. I mean, they would, of course, we're addicts, we do talk about drugs. But it wasn't the whole conversation, it wasn't in-depth stuff. And so I seen it already working in their lives. They had these big smiles on their face all the time. We had a coffee shop back in that day, too, in Northeast Philly on Harveston Avenue. We'd all go there and hang out, and everybody would be happy. And I seen it working in their lives. So that open-mindedness, like, I could see that, right? So I was, like, pretty open-minded to the fact that this, too, can work for me. Now, the other side of open-mindedness. This is where I don't want to say I struggle because that's too strong a word. My first sponsor, who's also my third sponsor, I can't really call my new sponsor my ninth sponsor because I haven't really used them so well. But I always have a sponsor. Because you guys told me if I want to be here, I need to have a sponsor. So, one of the early things, he's like, he would make me call random people he's like, you never, off a phone list. That was so awkward. You know what I mean? Calling people on a phone list. But he would make me do all these things. But the main thing he would tell you about this is, like, you gotta be open-minded. You don't know where your help's gonna come from. Right? He's like, so I end up joining this home group. I come from Holmesburg, Northeast Philadelphia. It's white. Especially when I was a kid. It was, my little area was Irish, Italian, and we have a few Polish kids mixed in here and there. There wasn't a lot of diversity. I got to Narcotics Anonymous, and there's a lot of diversity, right? And my first home group, right, Tarsdale and Hale, I still love it. I'm going there tonight to hear my friend share, I think for 9 years or 10 years, I'm not sure. I'm a horrible friend, I guess. Because once you stay here with somebody for long enough, y'all have the same clean time anyway, right? These guys just feel like you've been here forever together. Because you could be a newcomer for a little bit, and then eventually, if you're a newcomer in this room especially, eventually you become a peer. Yeah. Just hang out for a little bit. You know what I mean? But the open-mindedness, so I joined this home group, and we were diverse, right? Black, Puerto Rican, gay, straight, woman, everybody, white. And that's when I first started to learn the open-mindedness. My help's going to come from anybody. And then I ended up having friends in these rooms, and still have friends in these rooms that are 21 years old, like 65 years old, right? You know what I mean? Like that's, and they're black, and they're white, and they're Puerto Rican, and they're gay. You know what I mean? And they're female. I had to be open-minded that males could help me too when I got here, right? Because I didn't do the male thing. Like I said, I was a woman guy, right? Like I hung around women. Like my best friend was a girl. And my sponsor, and your help could come from anywhere, but my sponsor was a big believer you ain't going to learn how to be a man from a woman. So he kind of like put that in my head. You know what I mean? Now, I do have women that are great friends of mine. But he put that in, like the open-mindedness piece that really, this is the real open-mindedness piece for me. I got to the rooms, and I was trying to keep in mind memory. And one of my best friends to this day, right? He's still my go-to guy for most things. I met him. He's Jewish. I didn't meet a Jewish person until I was 19 years old. Okay? I didn't hang out with a Jewish person until I met him. And if you're Jewish, I'm not sure. That's not racist. It's just never happened. I don't know why. It just never happened, right? So I met this kid. He's like 15 years younger than me. He was on methadone at the time. He's got 5 or 7 years clean. I'm not even sure. Like I said, when you get here, eventually I feel like we all have the same clean time, right? For some reason, I don't know. That's the way it works for me. But I was open-minded, right? Enough to like that I can get my help from anybody, and it came from him, right? He's been through there so much in my life, I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am for him. But that was all due to being open-minded, right? My help is going to come from anywhere, and it just works. And like I also seen a bunch of stuff reading today, and last night, because I haven't opened up my basic text in a while. I've been reading the Gray book. My friend bought me one, and it's a little different wording. But I was reading this yesterday, I think last night. It says, open-mindedness without willingness, however, will get us nowhere. We must be willing to do whatever is necessary to recover. And earlier in the book, it says, willingness to do what works for others, or try to do what works for others, is vital. Right? There's a lot of big words like that in this book. Vital. I know it says critical somewhere in here. Earlier I was reading, right? And I remember essential, right? And I remember, it's funny, because I was reading through here last night, and I seen what I do, and I had a dictionary, because my sponsor told me to get a dictionary. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not going to try to sell anybody anything. But he said, get a dictionary, and all these words meant the same thing: essential and critical and vital. You know what I mean? It says absolutely necessary, extremely important, and vital. You can even take to the other level. You're gonna fucking die. Yeah. If you don't do what has worked for others, you are gonna die. If not physically, spiritually, right? So, that willingness, right? What am I willing to do? Right? I've been willing to be honest. You can start with that. Am I willing to be gut level honest? Am I willing to be open-minded? Am I willing to do what has worked for others, right? Which, of course, right away, meetings. Think meetings. Do you have the willingness to go to the meetings? Right? Do you have a willingness to get a sponsor? Do you have the willingness to use that sponsor? Right? I must have sponsored 50 guys by name, at least. You know what I mean? They asked me, and then I'd say, means you're still sponsoring, right? I'm like, I don't think so. Because, for me, I'm my first sponsor told me, go and pat people in the ass and send them out to die. Right? Don't tell people they're doing good when they're not. But tell them when they're doing good also in the other aspect, right? But you have to be honest with people. Being willing though, I was willing to get that sponsor. I was willing to get that home group. I had 2 home groups at one point. I was willing to get into the steps, right? That's the meat and potatoes of Narcotics Anonymous, is the step work. Finding out about you, why you use. But, when you think about that, right? For me, Narcotics Anonymous and the 12 steps, when I look at them, it's just all about the principles. That's what I see. I see the first step, I think honesty and acceptance. I see the second step, I think faith and open-mindedness. I think trust and willingness. I think courage. I think trust again. You know what I mean? And that's what I truly see when I look at steps. And like I said, I didn't understand. This is really old, right? Spiritual principle. I had no idea what a spiritual principle was. My sponsor's like, look it up. Because when he first got me on the steps, he's like, pick out the spiritual principles for him. I paused for about a minute. I don't know what that is. So my definition that I found that worked for me was spiritual principle is a fundamental truth. It's an origin from which positive change can occur, right? And that's what worked for me. Positive change. So, I started practicing that willingness that comes with the surrender. Because, like I said, I said I surrendered, right? I'm done. And but was I willing to do what it takes to stay around here? Another thing, willingness that I read in here again. If I take too long to get it, I will not take too long. Well, I got plenty of time still. See, another thing was when we are willing to follow this course of action and take advantage to the help available to us, a whole new life is possible, right? And this way we do recover. Well, right? If you're not familiar with the NA text, it's not a book, it's a text, right? Books are meant to be studied. Books are meant to be read. Texts are meant to be studied, right? And like for me, the willingness to do that and starting to recover, right? Like in the morning when I wake up, since I've been around, like that gift of desperation, like since I've been around, when I wake up, especially the past 5 years, I have 3 thoughts that go through my mind when I get up, right? Don't want to get up for work. I hope the coffee pot went off, and I gotta take the dogs out. They're my first 3 thoughts every morning. I'm not saying I never thought about using since I've been here, but since I've been here, I had never thought about using it directly when I got up in the morning. And that all stems back from the original gift of desperation, coming here and I was beating into willingness, right? I was beaten into wanted to try what has worked for others. And it was scary. You know what I mean? It was scary asking somebody to sponsor me. It was scary making meetings in general. Like I said, I came in here, I always had my hoodie up thing, I would have to read. But I was willing to do whatever my sponsor told me to do. Like I moved back to the phone list thing. He made me call people on the phone list. It was so awkward and so terrifying, but I did it. Because I came here with the case of the I knows, right? Whenever somebody would tell me something, I would say, I know. I know, right? I know. My sponsor would be, you gotta make it mean. I know. You're going to go over the steps? I know I have to do it. And then, within the first month, he said, if you know so fucking much, why do you have me? Knocked the I knows right out of me. I don't think I have said it since, literally. I do not say I know anymore. I used to lie. I might say it to my wife every once in a while. But I no longer say I know, right? I got knocked out of me. But I do know this program works. That's facts. And, like, I've been telling my story, and, some people can't identify with the mama's boy thing, right? They can't identify because, my experience is that, like, being taken care of, and, like, we got guys and women in here that, that's not their experience, man. Their experience is penitentiaries. Their experience is, homeless, abandos, stick-up kids, bank robberies. You know what I mean? Like, I had no clue about that. That's so far out of my range. I just don't, you know what I mean? And that can make us really look at the differences in here when we're in here. Well, I never did that. He did that. She did that. I did this. We're different, right? And I read something, man, a long time ago now. It says, although I never woke up in the gutter or on Skid Row, I woke up on the beach under a palm tree with my face in the sand. It says, the feelings are the same. Skid Row's in the mind. Well, when I read that, man, it totally blew me away, man. We all remember how it feels to wake up desperate, despair, pit in our stomachs, right? And for me, it was like, I just got to get another. If I can get one in me, I can get through the day. You know what I mean? I won't feel like this. But we all can identify with that, like just feeling beating, and lonely, right? And it doesn't have to be that way. NA, never alone. Another slogan, another cliche. But we are never alone, right? I can go anywhere in the world and find people just like me. anywhere. Like I haven't been to meetings everywhere. I've been to meetings, in Delaware, of course. I've been in Virginia, Boston. I haven't been to Boston in a while, but I have a home group up there that I go to every Saturday night that people actually know me when I walk in. It's pretty crazy, right? But I'm never alone. Like, no matter what. Like, I have somewhere to go. And I'm forever grateful for that, right? But it all goes back to being honest, open-minded, and willing, right? It all goes back to them things. So, right, like, if you're here tonight, man, I'm gonna close soon. Maybe not too soon, but I like the power of a choice anymore. Like, if you have a week clean, 10 years, doesn't matter. Like, it's always a choice now. You pick up, it's your fucking choice, right? Mine, for me. I live in Kensington. Like, I have a choice. You know what I mean? When I leave here, right? Do I go cop? Right? What do I choose to do when I leave here today? Like, you know what I mean? Do I choose to, take my wife out to eat? Right? I choose to do that and then go see my buddy Share for his, my brother. Not my buddy. My brother. Share for his, anniversary, right? It's always about a choice now, man. Like today I choose to have a sponsor. I choose to have a home group. I choose to make meetings. I choose to have a life worth living. And it all just goes to coming here and like doing what I'm told. Because new guys will come in, because I really don't talk to the girls. Sorry, girls. But I lost what I was thinking. Before that, oh man, I was going somewhere with that. Oh, doing what you're told. I can get thrown off really fast. The 5-ring circus is a 3-ring circus now. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still can get up there turning. But people that come here and they do, I don't want to be told what to do. Motherfuckers, you need to be told. You need to be told what to do. I still need to be told what to do. But when we tell you what to do, we're not telling you out of being mean or wanting to be your higher up or whatever you might want to call it. We're telling you because we want you to stay clean. We want you to recover, right? That's how when we tell you you need to get a sponsor. That's the first thing I'll ask newcomers when I talk to them. You got a sponsor? Do you? You got a sponsor? You got a home group? You know what I mean? Good. And they say yes, I say good. And if they say no, I said, join this home group. If they say no to a sponsor, I say, I got somebody for you. Right? But, it's a program of change. I'm opened up to this page on the old ideas and the old ways will help us to stay clean and live a better life. It's always about fixing our fractured personalities. It's always these strong words and they're fractured. You know what I mean? We're not dead. We're just fractured. We can heal. Everybody recovers at different paces too. Some people they come in here and they have 90 days clean and they're up at the table and they're legitimate, happy, joyous, and free. Like, you know what I mean? And you got people like me who's got a year clean and still struggling to look people in their eyes. But it goes back to, wanting to do something different, wanting to be clean, wanting what other people have. So if I want what they have, I do what they do. It's been a hell of a ride, man. Like my life. If my life doesn't get no better today, like I have it. I have a great life. I want more money at my job. I want a better car. I want more tattoos. I want. But on the other note of that, I'm like, had this self-awareness today to understand what I have. right? What do I have today when I look at it? I got a great wife. I got 2 dogs that drive me crazy. I have a nice house in a bad neighborhood, but it's a nice house. I get to go home, right? I pay all my own bills. Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine a mama's boy she paid up his car and everything and all that good stuff, and always asking for rent money and always asking for this. That I take care of myself, like 7 tradition type shit. That I'm truly self-supporting for once, right? Not saying I never asked for any help because I ain't perfect, but like I remember there was this guy in the art area. He's passed away. For years, another cliche. Why my wildest dreams? Why my wildest dreams? I fucking hated it. I really hated it because I look at his life and say, "What's so great about your life?" Right? Well, that's where I was thinking now, and I'm talking years of hearing this guy say it. Every meeting, he would say it, and then he said it for the 1,362nd time, and it clicked. Well, it clicked, right? And I'm going to go back to this, but keep coming back. We always say keep coming back, and you're going to hear the same stuff over again. It's because sometimes it takes a while for you to get a personal grasp on it. A personal grasp on it. I'm glad for AA there before us, but, it's the biggest difference in steps between AA and I. You know what the biggest difference is? The biggest difference is you go through our Alcoholics Anonymous steps through the way the first 100 people ever went through. You know what I mean? Went through the steps. Narcotics Anonymous, you go through the steps by the personal experience of your sponsor, right? It's pretty deep, man. Like, it's personal around here, right? And so the keep coming back thing is like, you just keep coming. And I know people say that I don't like keep coming back, just stay, which is great. But keep coming back doesn't mean go out and get high. And you're always welcome here. You're on Suboxone, you're on methadone. If you just got done a crack binge, doesn't matter. Welcome. Please stay. Keep coming back. But keep coming back means don't get high and make another meeting. That's what it means, right? And by keep coming back, you're going to meet people. They're going to first just recognize your face, then they're going to recognize your name. They're going to know your name, and then eventually, before you know, you got a bunch of friends, right? So, the key, like the Bama Wildest Dreams, he would set it for the 1,362nd time, and it finally kicked in for me. Well, hold up. This is it, right? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Right? Being up here right now is beyond my wildest dreams. Being comfortable in my own skin, having inner peace on most days. Them things. Not every day, like I said, think about my wife calling me pretty, right? Most days, like, I'm okay with B. Like, BB's an okay guy, right? And I'm okay with myself. And that's why I was never okay with myself. It was always something. And it took that, keep coming back and hearing the same shit over and over again. Not shit, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way. Hearing the same things over and over again. That it finally kicks in, right? And I can get a personal understanding of myself. Because, like, I'm up here, like, I am not Narcotics Anonymous, right? This is just my experience at Narcotics Anonymous. So if you don't like me, that's okay, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And everybody's not my cup of tea. We are a society inside of a society, right? We are, you know what I mean? And everybody's not for everybody. But you know the old saying, you ain't got to dance with everybody, but you got to dance with somebody. And for me, like, when I start helping guys, I say, yeah, I'll help you. But get some numbers, because I can't pick up the phone all the time, right? Make some friends. But, like, if you stay, we have Philadelphia area, Delco area, Philadelphia area in general, greater Philadelphia area is the second place Narcotics Anonymous ever was, right? We have plentiful meetings. There are plentiful meetings in the United States, period. But especially in an area like this. So if you don't like somebody, you don't like these people, go to another meeting, right? You will find for me, the universe will put them in my place. It will put them in my path, right? Even with some time clean now, once a year I meet somebody, right, that all of a sudden we click. You know what I mean? Like that. Because I can be stubborn at times. I'm not open-minded, right? I have my friends. That's who I call, right? But then the universe throws that thing in there. It's like, put somebody in my path, right? And I have to recognize that. I have to be aware what's happening. Which I know I got. Yeah, I'm not gonna just speak hot air, right? Because I'm just gonna start pulling shit out of here. So, 3 principles: honesty, open-mindedness, wellness, right? That's where it starts, right? And like I said, when you're practicing, it says in here. I did read this. Honesty, open-mindedness, and wellness work hand in hand. I was taught that very early in recovery that my former sponsor told me that when you're working one spiritual principle, you're working them all. They flow through each other. They never, ever, ever are in conflict with each other. And they're all based in one spiritual principle. One. It all goes back to love. Right? When you're practicing acceptance, you're practicing maybe self-love or love of another. When you're practicing trust, you know what I mean? Whatever you're practicing, it all can go back into that, right? And I'm so grateful for all the sponsors I had. Not that I used them all like I should have. I'm so grateful for, the program. I'm so grateful for the fellowship, because the fellowship and the program are two different things. They are two different things. Program is perfect. The fellowship is not. But I'm so grateful of, NA has not given me a life. It's given me the ability to have a life. And I'm so grateful for that. So if you've never heard me share it before, I always close with Yoda. Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try, right? Narcotics Anonymous is the same thing. It's cut and dry around here. You know what I mean? You do or do not make a meeting. You don't try to make a meeting. Your ass is there, your ass is not there. Yeah. All right? You do or do not get a sponsor, right? You do or do not, and I said it earlier, use that sponsor. There's a big difference between having a sponsor and using your sponsor. You do or do not make work steps, do or not practice principles. For me, they go hand in hand. Working steps, living by principles. You do or do not pray. I do not pray. And I know that, and if you're new, please pray. I tell the guys I help to pray. I have a different higher power. It's more like the universe, karmic debt, and spiritual principles. I mean, that is my higher power. You got to find out what works for you around here. So it's so do or do not around here. You're doing it or you're not doing it. Like I go back to earlier. It works if you work it. Like it's not by osmosis. Is that what they say? Like I can't say. I got her recovery now. You know what I mean? That doesn't work that way. Like you got to put in the work around here. You have to. You know what I mean? You are responsible for your own recovery. You are responsible for getting yourself to a meeting. I don't give a fuck. I wasn't allowed to get a ride to a meeting for my first 60 days clean. I had to walk or bus. My sponsor said, "You don't damn fucking ask anybody for a ride." He's like, "You learn how to get yourself there," and I'm grateful for that because to this day, even when I had 6 years clean, my car broke down, and I was walking to my home group, and people would go, "Why didn't you ask for a ride?" I was like, "I'll get myself to me. You can take me home." You know what I mean? You can take me home. But it was already ingrained in me that I'm responsible for getting myself to a meeting, right? So your recovery is your responsibility. As that guy Brian also used to say, besides that Bomb Wild Streams, we say, man, this is the best game in town, right? This is the easier, softer way. If you're looking for an easier, softer way, this is it. And all it takes is coming in here, saying you're an addict, getting God level honest, being open-minded to say what's really going on, and so we could tell you, me too, and being willing to do what the predecessor tried. Because Narcotics Anonymous has been the same for, starting in the 40s or 50s, I believe, maybe the 60s. But it's been, let me put it this way. It's been the same for the past 20 years. 20 years from now, it's still going to be the same. It's still going to be the same program. Nobody's around here reinventing it. Everything I say tonight is either literature or somebody taught me. Right? Like, it's not BB's Anonymous. Like, if we all came around here doing our own thing, we wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be here at this convention, and it's crazy that this many addicts can get together, right? Isn't that kind of like mind blowing? Back in the 60s, it was a conspiracy if two addicts were together. They had had the first NA meetings in private. They weren't even allowed to fucking do this. Now they let us run a hotel. What are these people thinking? I'm just joking. I'm just going to say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful you guys sat here and listened to me. If you're new, just give yourself a break, man. Try something different. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're here, been here for a while, stay here. We need you. I need you to show me how to live. I need you, even use the newcomers, man. I need you. All right? I need everybody in Narcotics Anonymous, man. There's no big I's and little U's. We're all the same in here. I don't know. That's all I got.
All right, so sponsor, I'm gonna ask you what do. I shut it down early. It's not supposed to be over to 2:30. So it's over. Okay. All right. So thanks, BB.
Thank you.
So close the meeting with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the world to know the difference. God's will, not ours, be done. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.